Thank you so much. Yeah. Great. We thank so much Sister Laila, Brother Chris, for lighting the candle so we can start. So I shall now ring the bell, meaning we can convene. My dear friends, to those who are here, seated here, and for those who are online, and some of them are from Las Vegas and some other states, a very, very heartfelt welcome to you. Please know, your presence is truly a blessing. Let's have some wonderful music now. Thank you so much, Brother Steve, for that beautiful music. Is this working, by the way? It is, okay. So just a few moments of silence, allowing the music to just percolate within us. And now calling in the ancestors and honoring our first peoples, Brother Chris.
Good morning, friends. Good morning, all my brothers and sisters. I'd like to welcome and honor our ancestors and all my relations with this poem from a selection of love poems from God. I've used this many times in this place, and today Meister Eckhart spoke to me, and I'm making a small adaptation. I hope he understands. When I was the stream, when I was the forest, when I was still the field, when I was every hoof, foot, fin, and wing, when I was the sky itself. No one ever asked me, did I have a purpose? No one ever wondered, was there anything I might need? For there was nothing I could not love. It was when I left all that we once were that the agony began. The fear and the questions came, and I wept. I wept, and tears I had never known before. So I returned to the river, I returned to the mountains, I asked for their hand in marriage again. I begged to wed every object and creature. And when they accepted, Goddess was ever present in my arms. And she did not say, "Where have you been?" For then I knew my soul, and every soul, has always held her. Blessed be. I'd also like to welcome and honor our First Peoples. As you may well know, this space is on land originally settled by the Coast Salish people, specifically the Duwamish. Those who may not have heard, the Duwamish were the tribe of Chief Seattle. Excuse me. And they still reside on this land. They still honor this, and we, as a community, wish to honor their communication with the land, their sacrifice, and also their sustaining this wonderful space. One of our members, Sucinque Laura Boucher, has taught us a practice that I hope will help honor them today. I'm going to demonstrate it first and talk a small bit about it, and then we can all do it together. What it involves is just placing your hand on your heart, and I see it as gathering all of what means to be human in that space of your hand and your heart, and then after a moment, we raise it up to the heavens. As we raise it up, we hope that a gift may be given to us in that space, and then that's returned to our heart. As we do that, we say the prayer Aho. So let's all take a deep breath together. Aho. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brother Chris. Once again, just a few moments of silence. And as per our tradition now, always honoring the divine feminine, Sister Laila.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to share with you a chant. Ancient Mother, I hear you calling. Ancient Mother, I hear your song. Ancient Mother, I hear your laughter. Ancient Mother, I taste your tears. Ancient Mother, I hear you calling. Ancient Mother, I hear your song. Ancient Mother, I hear your laughter. Ancient Mother, I taste your tears. Ancient Mother, I hear you calling. Ancient Mother, I your song. Ancient Mother, I hear your laughter. Ancient Mother, I taste your tears. And we honor you by these names, and for many names unknown. Isis, Astarte, Diana, Hecate, Demeter, Kali, Inanna. Isis, Astarte, Diana, Hecate, Demeter, Kali, Inanna. So mote it be.
Thank you so much, Sister Laila. Once again, just a few moments of silence. Thank you. Brother Steve. Thank you so much, Brother Steve. Once again, a few moments of silence. You know, I love the utterance of Rumi about music. He would say, music is the sound of the spheres. And we have been a part of this harmony before. And this lovely music keeps our remembering fresh. My friends, customarily we do a few ahms or ohms. Let's try it. We're meeting in person. And again, once again, hello and welcome to those online. Let's do a few ahms or ohms. Deep breath. One more time. And now, my dear friends, a chant familiar to many of us here, Allahu Allah. Praising God, knowing that when we glorify, praise God, God doesn't become holy, we become holy. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. Just the beloved women, please. Just the beloved men. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. Family all together. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. Once softly. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. Twice aloud. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. And being open now in silence to what the great sages call the glow of presence, the glow of presence. Thank you, my dear friends. So today, reflection on a topic we're continuing throughout the year, Divine Mother. But this time, Divine Mother as wisdom. So I'll go through a template of Islam and weave in insights from Islam and different traditions. So the first principle of Islam is Islam itself. And what does the word Islam literally mean? Islam means to surrender in peace. To surrender in peace. But the question is, what are you surrendering? And the Quran suggests you're surrendering your attachment to your ego. So that, as the Quran says, you can bring a heart turned in devotion to God. Surrendering in peace to God, your attachment to your ego, so that you can bring a heart turned in devotion to God. So Divine Mother says, in this insight lies the purpose of our lives. Why are we here? You know, we don't come with a mission statement. No holy book comes with footnotes. It's all interpretation. We are here to evolve into the fullness of our being by letting go of our ego little by little by little by little over a lifetime, doing what the great sages call the divine exchange, bringing in God or God attributes into the center of my life and less of my ego in the center of my life. So The first part is becoming a more complete, developed, better human being by transforming my ego. And the second part is turning my heart in devotion to God, meaning being of service. This is the essence of my life mission on planet Earth. Just be with that. But Divine Mother says, this is difficult work. Actually, it's very, very inconvenient. And the great sages say, life really starts when you become a seeker. When you suddenly realize, you awaken to the extraordinary, bewildering mystery we are steeped in. We have no idea where we came from. We have no idea what's going to happen when we leave this planet. We have no idea who I am. And I keep saying, why we are here. It's total mystery. But of course, we're caught in this hypnotic trance of living and surviving. The great sages say there are two veils in the way of us becoming a seeker, health and wealth. Because we're unmindful, sadly, and it's okay because we learn, we grow from it, it requires a crisis of health or wealth to wake us up. In my case, it was the sudden death of my parents. It woke me up. It could be a loss of financial security, emotional security, a divorce, a change in life circumstances, then suddenly deeper questions. And the Quran says, that's beautiful. And the verse in the Quran says, say, my life, my living, my prayers, my sacrifice are all for you. We come to this awakening. We become a seeker. It doesn't have to be a difficult situation. For example, I remember when my parents passed away, that one poem, and I keep repeating this, it really splashed in my heart, this contemporary poem by Hafiz, who says, something missing in my heart tonight has made my eyes so soft, my voice so tender, my need for God absolutely clear. It could be a series of events. It could be meeting a teacher. It could be a major question in one's life, like the Buddha. What awoke the Buddha? What led the Buddha on this 7-year search for answers? He had one burning question in his being. What was the question? Why would a mother want to give birth to a child who would grow old, who would inevitably become sick, inevitably die? Why would a mother want to give birth to a child who would grow old, become sick, and die? This question haunted him, and it broke him up into finding answers. It motivated him on this search, and he found the answers in his Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. It could be reading something in the scriptures, or something in a book you read, like for Gandhi, when he was in his lowest point in his life, he read this one verse from the Bhagavad Gita, truth is God. Truth is God. And those words, they just splashed in him, went deep inside him, and woke him up and made him the person he became. Truth is God. What was it for you? And what I really wanted to say was, it doesn't have to be dramatic. I remember 2 instances. Many years ago, I was counseling a lady who wanted to give up smoking. That's not easy to do, smoking cessation. And after a week, she came back and she was totally a different person. Giving up smoking was absolutely no problem, but there was so much more to that. What happened? She had 2 daughters, beautiful daughters, young daughters, and she suddenly became mindful as they were playing, And one of them took a pencil and put it in her mouth and saying, "I am mommy." And she sucked at the pencil. And just that one incident, just that one sight, that pierced her heart. It awoke something in her. I'm a mother. I have responsibility. These are two precious lives that have been entrusted to me. What am I doing? She began to ask deeper questions. Why am I here? How can I become a more complete, developed human being? I want meaning in my life. I want to be of service to my daughters. She looked for spiritual answers. She surrendered. I remember another instance, not long after that, a person who came to me for wanting to give up drinking. He was boisterous and his wife was very upset, but he loved his little infant daughter. And one day in his drunkenness, as he was being very loud, very difficult, and as he picked up the daughter, for the first time he noticed the daughter, she kind of made a face because the father's breath was foul, filled with alcohol. But then she again turned in love to the father. And the father, seeing that one sight of the daughter turning away her face, that broke his heart. I want to be a good father. I want to be a real human being. I need help. I need help. Giving up drinking was absolutely no problem for him in that instance. He became a seeker. Okay, just speak with those insights. The second principle in Islam is Iman, having faith. And Divine Mother says, do you know what faith is? It's not blind faith. It's not based on hearsay. Real faith is moving from borrowed certainty to an inner knowing. It's a process of purifying your heart, having life experiences, having that faith grow from within you. I love those words of Tagore, who says, faith is the bird that sings in the dark, knowing that dawn is coming. And yes, we all need faith. But it is a process. Remember, as Divine Mother says, moving from borrowed certainty to an inner knowing. It has to be your own inner experience through the journey of life, the mystery of life. If we don't have faith, we cannot have hope. Some great teachers said, if you don't have faith in something higher than human personality, you don't have to call it God, call it goodness, call it anything you want. But faith in something higher, greater than human personality. If I don't have that, I should be leading what this wonderful American author said, I should be leading a life of quiet desperation. The Quran says, it is God who sends down the waters, the rain, after humankind has lost all hope, and unfolds His grace. Another metaphor I like from the Quran, the earth was parched. The earth was parched. But the waters of mercy came down, and the earth became clothed in green. I love the words of Rumi, who says, dear heart, never lose hope. Never lose hope. Miracles dwell in the invisible. Even if the whole world has turned against you, keep your eyes on the friend. Dear heart, never lose hope. Miracles dwell in the invisible. Even if the whole world has turned against you, keep your eyes on that beloved, on that friend. Okay, third principle in Islam, ihsan, which means, can I become a more complete, a more developed, a more spiritually evolved human being? And as we know in our community, this is the main work we have to do to become a more perfected human being. We have to transform our ego from a commanding master into a personal assistant. Divine Mother says, Brother Jamal, no matter what beautiful things you do, don't forget this inner inconvenient work of transforming your ego from a commanding master into a personal assistant. Not easy. Again, the sages say, the lion who overcomes the enemy's rank is a minor hero compared to the lion who overcomes himself or herself. Then the Quran says, all the traditions say, polish your heart, purify yourself. There's rust on our heart, says the Quran. And the Prophet Muhammad said, use God's solvents to polish it. For every rust, said the Prophet Muhammad, there is a polish. And the polish for the rust of the heart is remembrance of God. Not easy. I love the words of the sages. Jamal, if you get irritated by every rub, how will the mirror of your heart ever be polished? If you get irritated by every rub, how will the mirror of your heart ever be polished? So what I like best about Divine Mother, she says, you've got to do this work, but do it with compassion, with mercy, with gentleness. This is in many traditions, like in Tao Te Ching, there's a wonderful verse that says, compassionate towards yourself, you reconcile all beings in the world. Compassionate towards yourself, you reconcile all beings in the world. Prophet Muhammad said, if you ask me what is the core, essential teaching of Islam, the spiritual teaching of Islam, he said, I can tell you in one word, compassion. When he was pressed to explain more, he said, this is what our life journey is about. Compassion for self and compassion for others. And Divine Mothers explains, and I repeat this in most of my sermons, the beauty, the power, the majesty of compassion, using the metaphor of water. Some of you might know it by heart by now. The first one is, there is nothing as soft and yielding as water is. Yet for overcoming the hardest, the most insurmountable, there's nothing as powerful as water is. And secondly, wherever water falls, life flourishes. Meaning, Divine Mother is saying, if you're gentle with yourself or with others, you're possessed of authentic raw strength, and you're life-affirming, life-bestowing. Just be with that for a few moments. Okay, very quickly, now the 5 pillars of Islam. The first one is La ilaha illallah. It's about God. There is a God. Divine Mother says, what do you know of God? Explore. So for me, I love exploring different traditions. I study Taoism, and there's a wonderful verse about God that says, those who say do not know, and those who know do not say. I love the Hindu verse about God. The eyes cannot see it, but it is that by which the eyes see. The tongue cannot utter it, but it is that by which the tongue utters. The mind cannot think it, but it is that by which the mind thinks. Buddhists don't talk about God, but they talk about the invisible world. They say if you're trying to understand the invisible world with your rational mind, it is like using a bamboo stick It is like using a bamboo stick to measure the depth of the ocean. Here's an Islamic one. A spiritual teacher says, bursts out, in the name of him who has no name, in the name of him who has no name, but who appears by whatever name you call her. In the name of him who has no name, but who appears by whatever name you call her. Another one from the Islamic tradition is, Jamal, whatever you think God is, the opposite is also true. That's why I love the words of Rumi. When you talk about God or invisible world, he goes into a trance. Rumi never wrote. He just would utter by going into a trance. And his beautiful utterance is about these matters: sell your cleverness and buy bewilderment. Let me just choose one verse from the Quran. There are many verses about God that are so beautiful. One verse which we have talked about many times. Allah says in the Quran, Allah says, we are closer to you than your jugular vein. We are closer to you than your jugular vein. That's why I love the story of that beautiful 8th, 9th century beloved female Saint Rabia. True story. She was walking the streets and then she heard this famous Sufi master, whose name I'm forgetting right now, addressing his very adoring students. And the teacher was saying, Allah is so compassionate. God is so compassionate. Just keep on knocking and knocking and knocking and knocking on Allah's door. And out of compassion, one day the door will open. What did Rabia say? She said, brother, when was a door ever closed? And the teacher stands up and bows to her. Okay, just be with that. In that same first pillar, there's something about Prophet Muhammad who experienced two phenomenal mystical phenomena which are mentioned in the Quran. The first one is the night of destiny, when the first verses of the Quran were revealed, but in the womb of silence. So some meditation on what Divine Mother would say about silence. I hope by now you know some of those verses by heart, which has been repeated so many times. Silence is not the absence of sound. Silence is the absence of the little self. Silence is the language of God. Everything else is a poor translation. Brother Jamal, be silent so that the Lord who gave you language may speak. For as he fashioned a door and a lock, he also made a key. It goes on and on and on. These are all by Sufi sages. This was mostly Rumi. I love a modern version of an ancient incident where the Buddha, when he was asked about meditation, when he was questioned, what do you gain from meditation, from silence? What did he say? Nothing at all. Nothing at all. And they were so surprised. Why you make us meditate for hours? He said, but let me tell you what I have lost in meditation. My fear of death, of illness, I've lost my attachment to anxiety, my lust for material things. I've lost all of that through the practice of silence. The other mystical experience of Prophet Muhammad was he didn't understand, is this really happening or is it a vision? But he found himself being transported from Mecca horizontally all the way to Jerusalem, horizontally. And then vertically he began to ascend 7 levels of heaven, which validates this beautiful idiom, I'm in seventh heaven. So there's a great meaning to this. Work in the visible world, but also work in the invisible world. Yes, work in the visible world. Be present in the visible world. I love the words of Thich Nhat Hanh. The miracle is not to walk on water. The miracle is not to walk on water. The miracle is to walk on land. The miracle is not to walk on water. The miracle is to walk on land. About the invisible world, I love the words of Rumi, who says, flee not, Jamal, flee not the invisible world. Don't run away from the invisible world. Flee not the invisible world, for it is a place of income. And this visible world, this place of more or less, is a place of expenditure. Flee not the invisible world, for it is a place of income, and this visible world, this place of more or less, is a place of expenditure. Okay, I shall move very fast now. The second pillar is prayers. What would Divine Mother say about supplications? Let's talk about supplications. Divine Mother would say, when you pray for supplications, you want something for yourself or others, do it with increased necessity. Those are the famous words. Do it from the depth of your soul, not just by rote or just a ritual. Do it with the core of your being, with a sense of increased necessity. It's a cry of the soul. Oh God, I shall cry to thee and cry to thee and cry to thee until the milk of thy loving kindness boils over. Rumi says, have you not noticed? Have you not noticed that only when a baby is born does the mother's chest become filled with milk? Why? Because there's an increased necessity for it. And Divine Mother says, please, don't criticize other forms of prayer. Like many of us monotheistic people, we say, oh, those Hindus, that's idolatrous. In fact, my favorite prayer is a very simple peasant Hindu prayer. Before he goes to cultivate the land, the peasant has, as part of his puja, that worship, he has these little figurines of gods and goddesses. He says, oh God, please forgive me for 3 shortcomings. I am told that you are omnipresent. I don't know what that means. For now, I beg you, I implore you, just be present here with me today. I also understand that you are formless, genderless, beyond description, outside here, out in the world, inside my heart, outside, within. I don't understand all of this, God. All I beg you now is to be in these forms. And thirdly, God, I understand that you don't need my praise. You're beyond praise. But I beg you, please accept my humble little praise that I offer to you. And that is a prayer which I find very heart-touching. Okay, just be with that for a few moments. After prayer comes service. Can I be of service? And here Divine Mother says, to all the different criteria for service, for example, the Quran says, if you want to give something to somebody, the Quran says, number 1, give freely of what you love. Give to those who ask and those who cannot ask. Number 3, give quietly, without any fanfare. This will atone for some of your wrongdoings. But the 4th one, most critical, equally critical, maybe even more critical, if you give without any attachment to the fruits of that service, the prestige, the power you gain, the fame you gain from that service. That's the message of Divine Mother. Okay, moving on very quickly, just 2 more. Ramadan, which is really about gratitude. Can I be grateful? Brother Jamal, if you're grateful, Listen to the words of the Quran. Everything which exists in the heavens and the earth extols the limitless glory of God. If I'm praising God, if I'm thanking God, I am joining a cosmic chorus and I feel exalted. Another very powerful insight by Divine Mother, Brother Jamal. Even in times of affliction, if you're giving thanks, even in times of difficulties, you're giving thanks. You're giving thanks for unknown blessings already on their way. If in times of affliction, I'm offering gratitude, thanks for something in my life, I'm offering thanks for blessings already on their way. Just be with that. The last one, pilgrimage. So I'll just touch on one aspect of pilgrimage besides the need for community because of time. During pilgrimage, every year, which happens, and people go to Mecca and Medina and several other places, it's a very incredible event, but they ask for forgiveness. Forgiveness from God. The Quran says, say you who have transgressed against your own soul. Say you who have transgressed against your own soul, despair not of the mercy of God, for God forgives all wrongdoings. But the Prophet Muhammad added a slight provision. He said, yes, of course God does that, but please remember this. Do not go back to your wrongdoing, as milk returns not to the udder. The second point about forgiveness, it's beautiful to forgive others. It is one of the most spiritual things to forgive others. Again, Divine Mother says, please, when you forgive others, don't overlook. Don't forget the work of healing and integrating what? The pain within you the wrong has caused you. The anger you have within you. Because the Quran says every single feeling is sacred. If I just say, I forgive you, but I don't heal the wound within me, I'm like what the Buddha calls whitewashing a burning house. There's a famous story of the Prophet Muhammad. This man came to him, and this man who had murdered his favorite uncle and said, please, Muhammad, forgive me. Muhammad said, of course, I forgive you, but don't come into my presence for some time. Why did he say that? Because he needed time to heal that anger, the pain, the sadness. In my practice, I've had a woman who's been coming to me for therapy. Her daughter was murdered. And everywhere she went, they said, we've heard this many times. Please forgive the perpetrator. You've got to move beyond. And guess what? She gained weight. She developed all kinds of strange illnesses. I and my community told her, no, you have to honor your anger. That's sacred. It needs to be kissed. It needs to be held. It needs to be embraced. It needs to be integrated. She said, can I be angry at God? Of course. God is your most beloved, intimate, shall I say, partner, your best friend, beloved in your life. If you cannot express your deepest feelings to your most intimate beloved, who can you do it to? And this lady expressed her anger, her fury, her rage to God. And guess what? Not only did she become healed, lost her weight completely. Not that it matters, losing weight, but it was incredible holding that thing that she had within her. Her illnesses disappeared, but most of all, she felt such a closeness to God. She became what sages would call a God lover. Almost, I would say, too much. There's a wonderful Sufi song I love to repeat. The song says, it's a tongue-in-cheek song. It says, oh God, save me from all these God lovers. I take refuge in me. Please save me from all these God lovers. She became one of those God lovers. Okay, my friends, I've spoken a long time. Just become very still. And let's do a short meditation. Close your eyes and focus on your nostril and simply be present with your breath as you inhale and as you exhale. Just this much. And now, letting go of this, and this time, focusing on the human heart, physical heart, and if it works for you, touch your heart, feel your heart, one hand, both hands, but really awareness of your heart, because our heart has been yearning, thirsting, aching to connect with us. Feel the heart. Bond with the heart. In a wonderful revelation, Allah says to the Prophet Muhammad for humanity, Allah says, God says, Beloved one, I cannot be contained in the space of the earth. I cannot be contained in the space of the heavens, but I can be contained in the space of the pure, loving heart. Simply be with that mystery that God is outside of you and also inside of you, inside your heart. Whatever your belief system is, God, Goddess, higher self, higher intelligence, also inside your heart. And now, spiritual teachers, they suggest plant some words of beauty. Words like, I love you. It's okay, you're telling it to the divinity, the divine spark within you. Say it with feeling, unabashedly, I love you. Or please help me to love you. I am grateful, if you want to continue. Thank you. I am so grateful. You can make it a prayer. Please, help me. I need help. I surrender to you. I need help. Please, help me. Whatever resonates, say it to your heart again and again and again and again. You can never overdo this. And as you keep saying those words, the most beautiful, divine vibration filled with love, blessings, healing, empowerment, transformation is going from the tongue into the mouth, into the throat, deep into the chest, even deeper into the heart, even deeper into the hidden, and then into the hidden of the hidden, astonishingly blessing us, loving us, healing us, empowering us. And now stop saying anything at all. As I do this chant, and some of you can join me, we come into awareness little by little. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. And gently open your eyes, and I believe we have music from Brother Steve, am I right? Good, okay, that fits very beautifully. Brother Steve. As always, thank you so much, Brother Steve. May we all, in appreciation for Brother Steve, just go like this. He paid me a lot for that, yeah. So now, my dear friends, time for sharing our wealth. Salijo.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Brother Jamal, for your beautiful sermon, and thank you, Steve, for your inspired music, always uplifting. And my name is Sally Jo, and I want to invite all of us to think now about how we can give back to this community, which gives to us so wonderfully and beautifully this sacred space that we have gathered in today. And it's so nice to see so many wonderful people here in person today. And I know there are also many people online watching from a distance. We appreciate all of your presence. We appreciate whatever gifts you can provide to help us keep this space open and safe and clean, and the bills paid and the water off the ground. And we'll ask somebody to pass. Let's give it to each side. And we know that not only do people give generously of their wealth, they give generously of their time. Brother George, who's one of the most important stewards of our building, who makes sure all the light bulbs are always working and the doors are not creaking and the windows are not broken. We've fixed so many things around here thanks to George and his diligence, and also so many others who help us keep up this historic building to such a beautiful place. And we know that the people online are also giving generously through the donate button on the website, interfaithcommunitysanctuary.org. That's an easy way to give if you're listening in from afar, because the live streaming costs money too, folks. You know that. And we do, as the treasurer of this organization, I can tell you we do faithfully pay our bills, and that's because we have money in the bank to do that. So thank you so much. And also, I would like to mention there are many upcoming gatherings happening right away here this week and in the coming weeks. We have this coming week, joining us from the United Religions Initiative, our coordinator of the Northwest region, Tahil Sharma, is North America, I thought that's what I said. Okay, the North American coordinator of United Religions Initiative, of which we are a cooperation circle, and so are several other groups in this area and all over the world. This is a global initiative, and Tahil will be visiting us, and we have a special event for Friday evening, 6 p.m. It begins with a Shabbat candle lighting ritual, followed by the Maghrib prayer offered by the Friday Prayer Circle of Interfaith Community Sanctuary. That's our Friday Islamic prayer. They will be offering a prayer for everybody to join if they wish or to observe. And then we will move into the sanctuary here and listen to Tahil give a little talk and explanation about the United Religions Initiative. And then we will present to him all of the things that we do in this community. Our Sisiwas Medicine Circle, Sis Winkle will be offering information and experience about that. Our Course in Miracles, the Remembrance in the Heart of Rumi, the Masnawi Study Group, our Sitting in Silence, our meditation group, Peace Camp International. All of these folks will give a little bit of information about how we really foster and develop and teach about and learn about interfaith sharing and interfaith worship and interfaith living our interfaith principles. And we will welcome everybody to that event. It begins with a potluck dinner, 6 p.m., and it will go until we finish. I don't know when that'll be. So all are welcome, and please do come and share and listen. And then we also have I know that Jamal is offering a new spiritual development class, starting his last one of 2022, which is Rumi, Quran, and Universal Teachings. This will be switching to a Saturday morning, and Jamal's classes are online now on Zoom. So it's a really very intimate online setting in which we have small group discussions, we have meditation, chanting, and of course wisdom from the great teacher Sheikh Jamal Rahman, and he will be leading us in this development class, which also focuses on spiritual practices, which we practice in class and out of class. And that will happen on Saturdays between November 5th and December 17th. There is no class on Thanksgiving weekend, which is November 19th, and otherwise it'll be meeting from 10 a.m. to noon on the rest of those Saturdays between November 5th and December 17th, and you can register by talking to Jamal or myself about that. And then next Sunday, of course, we have our fourth Sunday worship. And we have a special guest coming next Sunday who's actually here in the United States right now visiting, Father Centurio Olaboro, who is from Uganda, and he has been involved with our International Peace Camp. Gretchen met him at the Council of, what is it called?
World Parliament's religion.
I always forget the name of that. Parliament of World Religions. This was several years ago. This is held every few years, and this was quite a few years ago. We met him at that gathering, and he is a returning. He comes periodically, and he's returning. He is a wonderful Christian Catholic priest who works in Uganda and also runs an orphanage, is the father and mother of 1,407 orphans in his orphanage there that his sister started before she died of AIDS. And this was developed for orphans, children who had been orphaned by the AIDS epidemic. And they not only provide a home for these children, but also school and aid and feeding and clothing them and educating them. And he is also a very, very important priest in his community. He's also a priest to many, many parishioners and churches, and he and his brother run this orphanage. So he will come and talk to us next Sunday as our guest speaker. He will be here to share what he's learned about his work in the world and how important this international connection is to him, that he's not just over there in this little island of need serving his people. He feels a part of our international community, and he's definitely a part of our community. So please join us next Sunday, again in person and online as always. And we thank our folks who are running our online program. And I know Zach is back there making sure we're online and everything's going well. Yeah. And Brother Rich has been very, very devoted in keeping our services open to the whole world. And this has been one of the silver linings of the cloud of COVID, which it got us online and got us a ability to communicate with our friends around the world. And hopefully we can continue that. So I think that's it, unless I've forgotten something.
Thank you so much, Sally Jo. And once again, thank you from our heart, from the core of our being, for your presence for those who are online. Yes. And for those who are here, I want to tell you, who are present here, that the real service starts where? Downstairs in the promised land, where there is wonderful food and beverages. Please, so after this is over, which is going to be over very soon, join us and feast with us in the promised land. We are blessed by your presence, O Lord. Take a deep breath. We are filled with your blessings, Allah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Ya Allah. One more time. We are blessed by your presence, O Lord. A deep breath. We are filled with your blessings, Allah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, Ya Allah. And becoming very still for a few moments. And so, my dear friends, I'm happy to say that you are now, with the ring of this bell, you are officially unconvened. So our online friends, they go off, but we just have a few